What up, YouTube? Real Vision TV. We back with another installment. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course, turn your notification bell on. And we're trying to get this video to 1,000 views. So let's get right to it. You guys already know what's been going on with the late Jeffrey Epstein. Now it's hit mainstream media, and now they want to act like they're breaking the story. Well, they're not breaking any story, right? Because people like us over here at Real Vision TV, we had a hold of this thing called Epstein's flight log maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago. And when we was basically conveying the information from that flight log to people, we were called conspiracy theorists and all other types of names. And we accepted that. But now that the mainstream media got a hold of this, they're now using different terms instead of flight manifest or flight log. They're using acquaintance list or client contact list. But one thing we started to realize is that there were some names that when the mainstream released were similar to the names that was on his flight manifest. And hit the like button. Just hit the like button, people. Don't forget, hit that like button. There were names that matched up. Let's take Naomi Campbell, the model Naomi Campbell, for instance. Now, let's put this on record. Anybody who dealt with Jeffrey Epstein or was in the presence of Jeffrey Epstein had to have some type of relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. It's not like Jeffrey Epstein would just allow you into his circle or his web of friends, especially being the type of character he is. You would either know him directly or you would know him through a party, a third party. Like, so he knows somebody, a friend of a friend, and you get introduced to him, and that's how he ends up friending you. That's typically his web of friend influence. And of course, this web of people all have money. Now, Naomi Campbell, she'll tell you that she met Jeffrey Epstein through her friend or her boyfriend at the time, Flavio. Let's pull up an article here in which Naomi Campbell speaks on this, and let's hear what she has to say.
The paper does manage to make it clear that you were not aware of Epstein activities. Did you know who he was?
Yes, I knew him. I was introduced to him on my 31st birthday by my ex-boyfriend Flavio. He was always front and center at Victoria's Secret shows.
Did you suspect what he was doing?
No. And what he's done is indefensible. And when I heard of what he'd done, it sickened me to my stomach, just like everybody else. Because I've had my fair share of sexual predators, and thank God that I had good people around me that protected me from this. I mean, right now I stand with the victims. I can't, they're scarred for life. For life.
How many people do you think you have rubbed shoulders with, as the Mail on Sunday put it?
I've rubbed shoulders with hundreds of thousands of people. I mean, I find it extraordinary that of all the hundreds of thousands of people that I've stood next to take a picture at a public event, they've only chosen these few. It's going to be very difficult to be photographed at public events because you're going to think if you do take a picture, it's going to be taken out of context and used in a negative way.
And that's a good point, because that's what happened to Donald Trump here. Donald Trump takes a picture with Epstein, and it's been noted that Donald Trump basically, not only did he eventually find Jeffrey Epstein to be a distasteful character, he's publicly came on a record and said he's not a pedo himself. He threw him out of Mar-a-Lago. So what more proof do you need as far as Donald Trump is concerned to realize that obviously he saw that the guy was a weirdo and he wanted nothing to do with him, right? But when Trump takes a picture with him, it gets blasted all over the internet, and people who just is left up for assumption. Oh, Trump was doing this, he was doing that with him. That's all hearsay. But Naomi Campbell, she was on this manifesto, and we'll pull up that manifesto right now, because although she's a model, in March 21st, 2002, you see here, she left the airport, EGGW. Let's look that up real quick. EGGW airport. That's a London airport. And they're leaving London to go to JFK. Now, you see here, she's accompanied by a male. Now, is that Flavio, her ex-boyfriend? If it is, why wouldn't they just put his name? Of course, Jeffrey Epstein's on there, that flight with Ghislaine Maxwell, Doug Mann, 10 Secret Service agents at the time, with, of course, the infamous Bill Clinton and Sarah Kellen. Sarah Kellen, I believe, was Jeffrey Epstein's assistant outside of Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, Naomi, what do you have to say for this flight? You're not, they don't have it noted that you was on there with Flavio, but you was on there with Epstein and the gang coming back from overseas, London to be exact. Now, we understand you was a model. Should we believe that you were just hitching a ride because your ex-boyfriend knew Epstein and that was your plug to getting a free private jet ride back home to the New York area? Who knows? Should we believe that? Should we give you the benefit of the doubt? Some may want to. But then we say, you know what? Let's take a look and let's see if she flew again, right? So back into this flight manifest, again, which was years ago called a conspiracy log. That's what we're using here as point of reference for today, because it's only right that we do so in regards to this matter. Now, let's see if we can find Miss Naomi on another flight log here. All right. Let's see if she's on page 13. Go back. See if she's on page 14. Yes, she is. So on October 2nd, 2002, Naomi Campbell is now leaving LFPB to JFK. Let's see what that airport is. LFPB. That's a Paris airport. Now, again, she's a model. It's believable that she would be leaving from there. But again, she's hitching a ride, and there's no trace of her ex, Flavio, being on the itinerary. So basically, she rolled around by herself with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, to make a long story short. Now, she tries to distance herself like she don't have that much relationship besides outside of what her ex-boyfriend introduced her as. But we find that hard to believe when there's no trace of your ex-boyfriend accompanying you with these flights. Just saying. Just saying. Now, of course, we got others, and they're going to be releasing more names, and we'll just stay on top of this as people are released. But next to her, we have Kevin Spacey. Now, Kevin Spacey has a history in Hollywood already, because he's already been popped for his lewd acts before. And he felt the scrutiny with the general public for his lewd acts. So it doesn't surprise us that his name has come up in the Epstein flight log situation, or being associated with Jeffrey Epstein, because he's that type of guy. He just is. And let's pull back up this log and let's see if we can discover where Mr. Kevin Spacey, along with Chris Tucker, that's right, Chris Tucker, Mr. Rush Hour himself. You see that smile, people? That's the devil. Take a good look at his smile. I hate to believe this, Mr. Chris Tucker, but I would hate to believe that you're giving little children that type of smile. I would hate to believe it. Allegedly giving children that type of smile. We would hate to believe it, man. We would hate to believe that the Friday actor turned Rush Hour with Jackie Chan will be tied in a web with a creep like Jeffrey Epstein. We don't want to believe it, Chris. We really don't want to believe it. But you don't leave us no choice, because when we look at these documents here, back to the flight manifest, we see here on September 21st, 2002, seemed like it was a good gang on this flight. We got, of course, Ghislaine, right? Is Epstein on this flight? Thought he was. Oh yeah, he's on there. Chris Tucker, as you see his name, you see Kevin Spacey's name on there. And they're leaving JFK to go to LPAZ. Which airport is that? That's Santa Maria Airport in Portugal. Now, people, we know Portugal is a place where some trafficking can go down. Let's be honest. You could find that dirt cheap traffic labor there, and you could shop things around there. Now, this is where Chris Tucker is going, along with Kevin Spacey and a group of others. Bill Clinton's on there, by the way, of course. But we're going to put a note out there with Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton has been with Jeffrey Epstein flying all over the world. To us, Bill Clinton is just as close as Ghislaine Maxwell to Jeffrey Epstein, because it almost seemed like Bill Clinton never did his job, never was home, and he spent more time with Jeffrey Epstein and allegedly up to wrongful acts with minors. So when you see Bill Clinton, don't be shocked. This guy was a habitual offender. Now, Chris, back to you. And Kevin Spacey, this goes for you too. What dealings did you have with leaving from JFK in New York, heading out to Portugal? This is like a good gang on here. It looks like a good gang of weirdos. Then you get to Portugal, and you leave from Portugal and you go to DGAA. Let's see what DGAA is. That's Ghana. So you go from Portugal and you head to Ghana, Africa. Another place where you can exploit people, children to be exact. It's not looking too good for you, Chris Tucker. Kevin Spacey, like I said before, we expect this behavior out of you. But Chris Tucker, it doesn't look good for you. So now the next day, September 23rd, you leave from Ghana and then you head to DNAA. Where's that? That's Azikiwe Airport. Am I pronouncing that right? That's Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport. This sounds like another African location. A place, again, where people can be taken advantage of. Right? Exploited. The next day, I mean, Chris, man, you on a world tour with the gang. You are on a world tour with the gang. 9/24/2002. So you leave from this weird other place, I believe, in Africa, and you head to HRYR. What's this airport? This is in Rwanda. Another weird place where people can be exploited and nobody would have to know. Then you leave from there on the 25th, the next day. You're having a hell of a time, Chris. And then you head to FQMA. What is that airport? Maputo. Mozambique. Sounds like another African related place. Another area where people can be exploited. Far from America. Then you leave from that location on 9/26 and you head to FACT. See a pattern here, people? Hit the like button, by the way. Yep, South Africa. That's Cape Town International Airport in Cape Town, South Africa. Then from there, on the 27th, they leave South Africa, then they go to FAJS. Where's this? FAJS. Sorry, good people. Bear with me. This is Johannesburg. Again, South Africa. So they're all over Africa right now. I don't know what's so popping in Africa right now at this time in September 2002, late September, where the gang of people you see on the screen, Jim Kenneth, Chris Tucker, Andrea Mitrovic, Roddy Swader, Epstein, of course, Sidney Lopez, Ghislaine Davis Lane, Kevin Spacey, Shawntae Davis, Doug Band, Casey Wasserman, Bill Clinton, Laura Wasserman, like a husband and wife duo, Eric Nanex, and Sarah Keller. Why are they all over Africa? Can somebody tell us in the comment section? We want to know. Why are these people all over Africa at this time? Maybe you guys know something we don't know. Maybe you know something we don't know. Then they leave from this location in South Africa and they head back to FACT, back to Cape Town in South Africa. So there was a little back and forth there. Maybe they liked what was going on back in Cape Town. Then on 9/29, they leave Cape Town and head back to DGAA, which we believe I said that was Portugal earlier, but let me just double check. DGAA. No, that's Ghana. Again, circling the wagon back to Ghana now. Then from Ghana, they head back to LFPB. LFPB. They head to Paris. So they circle all these areas and then they head out to Paris. I don't know, maybe Naomi Campbell was out there waiting for them at that point. But Chris, this doesn't look good for you, my friend. We wish you could come on and clear your name with this because this doesn't look good at all. This doesn't look good at all, Mr. Tucker. Now, I'm going to repeat this again. Anybody with Jeffrey Epstein has to have some sort of an idea of who he is. And for those of you who believe that he still hung himself, don't be fooled. This man was murked. He knew too much. He had too much dirt on people. To the likelihood of he had the balls where he would keep a portrait of Bill Clinton in a dress in his front entrance of his New York apartment for people to see when they walked in. Basically showing his ownership over Bill Clinton. This is the type of character that Jeffrey Epstein was. And you can't say that you didn't have the slightest idea who he was. You can't say that when you're out there on the airplane with him and you stop at a location that you don't see him looking at people weird and you start to question, hey, why is this guy looking at little children this way? You can't tell me that you didn't have that experience with him. So, Chris, we would love to hear from you. Kevin Spacey, we don't care to hear from you. Naomi Campbell, we heard what you had to say. You was being contrite and being all for the victims. But you still also got to explain why wasn't Flavio on the flight logs? Because that was the connection you said that introduced you to Epstein. But every time we saw your name with Epstein, it seemed like Flavio wasn't around. So we need to get that cleared up, Ms. Campbell. And we're going to continue to follow this story too, because this is going all the way to January 6th now. This is going all the way to January 21st. They're supposed to release more names. We should be seeing Leonardo DiCaprio. We had the list way back. We want to make sure that that's validated, because there was talks of names like Akon allegedly. There was talks of names like even Jay-Z allegedly, and a bunch of other people that was on these lists that was out there 4, 5, 6 years ago. Now, this is alleged, but we wouldn't be surprised on January 21st what names come out. I mean, they pull out Michael Jackson. They pull out names like Michael Jackson. Go back to this article here. Right here. I mean, Michael Jackson's name is coming up. And of course, good old Kate Blanchett. And of course, Leonardo DiCaprio. Can't do no wrong, Mr. Leo. Now, Michael Jackson can't even defend himself, but it leads one to believe that the history Michael Jackson had with the young children leads you to believe that, it wouldn't be hard to believe at this point that he would be tied up in this. Whether it's true or not, we already got a perception, or most people have a perception of Michael Jackson in their head. Sucks that he's not alive to defend himself. But as I stated, more names will be coming out January 22nd or somewhere around that time, the 26th of this month, 2024. And don't be shocked, because we won't be. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, because we would appreciate if you do so. If you enjoyed the video, enjoyed the little questions that we had or what we had to share with you today, we appreciate it. Definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And again, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Turn them notification bells on. We can't stress that any further, so you can continue to get our updates. And again, we appreciate you watching. We appreciate your support. To the next one, we out.